3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You tuned in to another episode of Strategic Moves. I'm your host, Ken Dow. This is a place where we bring art, culture, politics, and business all together, and we do it every Sunday right here on this channel. But when I'm not shooting this podcast, I am the owner of Strategic Resources and the founder of the African American Men's Action Network. We call it AMEN. I've been doing political campaigns, government relations in this town for over 25 years. Met some interesting people along the way, and I want to make your next move a strategic move. And this program gives me an opportunity to bring on people that I've met. We sit down, we talk about some of our experiences, and hopefully it's something you can get out of it that'll help you in your life, personally, or your business. You never know. So if this sounds like something you'll be interested in, all I need you to do is hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell as well, so that you will know the next time this program comes on. So we're going to get started right away today, because today is a good day and we're working our way through this thing. We're getting our year started off again. We had a slow start, but we're getting there. But before I start, I want to give a shout out to the best podcast and producer in Cleveland today, and that is DJ True. Man, how you doing back there?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I can't complain, man. Today is ought to be a really good day today, because we got one of your buddies in today, huh?
Yeah. This particular person I actually met at the Labor Day parade. No, actually at Grandparents' Day.
Grandparents? So you was out at Louis Moore's Day.
Resource Fair and Festival. Shout out to Uncle Louis Moore. So I met this person, real nice, and I didn't even know that my son met this person too. So it correlates with the family. She has been instrumental in his life and advancing his podcast knowledge. So shout out to my son and the King Teeth Network. So I'm really excited about this particular person. She's doing big things.
All right, we're going to get started. We ain't going to hold it up. I ain't going to keep you guys waiting on who this person is. I'm going to do a little breakdown of who she is so that we can get to understand. Today on our show, we have Renee Tramble Richard. She is the president and CEO of Corporate College, Tri-C, right here in Cleveland. That's Cuyahoga County Community College, right here in Cleveland. She also served as the interim president from 2022 to present. She also still serves as a strategic advisor for the legal counsel. She is a legal advisor to the president, Michael Baston. She's general vice counsel and vice president of the legal counsel since 2012. She has a diverse professional experience working across various sectors in banking, water, sewer authority, airport authority, municipal and state and local government, nonprofit organization, housing financial agencies, and community development corporations. She has a bachelor's degree from Kent State. She has a master's degree from Cleveland State and her Juris Doctorate for Cleveland State as well. She served on numerous boards, receiving awards. She's in the Cleveland State University College Law Hall of Fame, YWCA Woman Achievement Award, and a Woman of Color Foundation Women of the Year Award. So, without further ado, we're going to bring in our big welcome from everybody in our studio for Miss Renee Richard. How you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent. That wonder of being able to have your show, you can do all these little things and get it all fixed up to make it sound great. I really appreciate you coming on our show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you, Latif, for inviting me.
Oh.
And I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Oh, no problem at all. One of the things that I look forward to and we go through our show is we always go through this thing where we go through what we call memory lane, where we try to go down and know who you are, try to go through your business a little bit of where you came from and all of that. And what's good about you is that I looked at your thing and all your education and everything you got, you were right here in Cleveland. So it had me to think that you must really be from Cleveland. So I always ask everybody, so you're from here, obviously?
Yes.
Born and raised?
Yep. Born and raised in Cleveland. I like to say I had a very public education.
Really?
So I grew up in the Huff neighborhood.
Okay.
Of East 85th Street between Wade Park and Superior.
Mm-hmm.
Went to East High School.
Okay.
And then went on to Kent State University.
Wow.
In Kent, Ohio. So not far from here, 40 minutes away. I got an accounting degree based on my mother's counsel.
Okay.
and then came back to Cleveland. I worked for a local accounting firm, Black-owned accounting firm. I don't know if you heard of Watson Rice and Company, but we were a small but mighty CPA firm. But actually, with 11 to 15 accountants, we were one of the largest Black-owned accounting firms at the time in the country.
So let's go back a little bit then. So you grew up, your mom and dad, or?
Yes.
Mom, dad?
Yep. My dad was a sheet metal worker at White Motor.
Okay. I remember White Motors. Right.
My mom was a bookkeeper for Fisher Body Euclid.
Oh, both of them were in.
Division.
Okay. And you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I grew up with a brother and sister. We're all around the same age. And I had a half-sister that I didn't grow up with, but got to know her better as we got older. And my brother is still here locally in Cleveland Heights. My sister lives out in Los Angeles. And my older sister has passed now.
Oh, okay. And you mentioned the fact that your mom talked you into getting into bookkeeping. That was what she was doing. So
it was what she did, but I was also really good in math.
Okay.
And so her conversation often was, you're good with math, you're good with numbers. If you get a degree in accounting, you will always be able to find work. And that was the emphasis, being able to find work, being able to take care of yourself, and not having to be worried about where that next meal was coming from.
So how did you choose Kent State?
I followed my big sister.
Ah.
She was going to Kent State she went a year before me.
Okay.
And I went to visit her, and she was my best friend. And it was like,
that was natural.
If my sister is there, I'm going to.
And so what did you graduate when you went to Kent? What was your degree in there?
So my degree was in accounting.
Oh,
so
okay.
I got a degree in accounting, and a year and a half later, I took the CPA exam, and so I became one of the first women CPAs in the state of Ohio.
Really?
I wasn't the first, but I was one of the first.
How about African American?
That's what I mean, in African American,
okay.
I should say, yeah.
Okay. Oh.
And yeah, so that was one of the first things that I was trailblazing and not having any idea
that you was doing it.
That I was trailblazing. But I did that for 11 years before I decided that I wanted to do something a little broader.
Okay.
So I was like doing numbers and auditing and taxes, and so I decided that I would go to law school and I would study tax law.
I was going to ask you what made you go to law school out of that. So you wanted to expand what you pretty much was doing already in finance.
I always wanted to be a lawyer, but at the time I was really shy.
Okay.
And I knew I couldn't get up in a courtroom. I didn't think I could get up in a courtroom and talk to a group of folks on a jury or a judge or in front of a group of folks. But I knew I could do tax law if I had learned that. And then I found that after I was going to school at night, so I was working during the day at Watson Rice, the accounting firm. And I was going to school at night. And after doing that for about 3 years, I realized that I wanted to do something that was broader than tax. So I just started taking my last year of business courses. Just any business course that I could fit into my schedule, I took that business law course.
Okay.
So I came out with a corporate law background. I did have a lot of tax in there. And then I just happened to see an article in the newspaper that the big corporate law firms in Cleveland that I had no idea existed didn't have enough minorities and were underrepresented, and were looking to find minorities. So my legal writing instructor worked for one of those firms, so I gave her my resume and I talked to her, and so that was my introduction to the world of corporate law firms.
Oh, so who did you work for, your first one?
So my first law firm was with Benish Friedlander.
Oh, no. All right, Benish.
They're still here.
They're still here,
around. They're
right.
a big firm.
They're in the BP building, right? Aren't they?
I'm not sure. They might be.
I think they were back then.
Yeah,
Okay.
they might be, yeah. So I did that, and I worked for 4 of Cleveland's largest law firms
Really?
over the next 25 years.
Oh, so you did 25 years in corporate law.
I did.
Wow.
I did, and I was introduced to an area called public finance, which is the area that issues
Bonds
to
and that kind of thing.
build municipal stadiums, to fix our roads, and ultimately to build housing and low-income housing. So my last 10 years, I worked on a lot of low-income housing bonds in Cleveland and Washington, D.C.
Wow. Some of the projects, you want to name one or two of your ones you really stick out to you?
One that you would recognize here is the former Longwood project, now Arbor Crest.
Okay.
So I was bond counsel for that transaction.
Okay.
And my very good friend Vanessa Whiting was borrower's counsel. So together, she and I, we forged ahead and worked on lots of housing deals in Cleveland.
A friend of mine is bond counsel, Eric Small.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Eric and I have done a few deals together over the years also. Yeah. He was at the time with SBK Brooks.
Yes. I was talking to him day before yesterday. So yeah, we and him, we talk quite often. So I didn't know you were into that. That's interesting. And that's a lot of development in Cleveland got done through that process.
Absolutely. All of our stadiums, except maybe the last Brown Stadium, but the baseball stadiums, we had Gateway Development Corp for a while, and they were responsible for building the baseball and the basketball arena. There were some public partnerships with the Brown Stadium also. We've got work on that.
Yeah.
Our convention halls. So lots of our public projects are public-private partnerships.
One of the things I hear Eric talks a lot about is the lack of minorities being able to get that, and there's only a handful of them. Daryl Fields would be another one who that's in there. So when you talk about that, is there still a need, or why you think is that, and is it the municipalities are just not opening the doors to make that opportunity for them?
There's probably a twofold issue. One being not a lot of African American lawyers go into public finance. A lot of lawyers steer away from numbers. And a lot of African Americans generally steer away from numbers. So that's one thing. You have to be comfortable with numbers and finance. And so that's one thing. And then the other piece is, there's probably two other pieces. One is that it's political. And the other is you have to be a large enough firm or institution to have the insurance to participate.
That's the other part. That's correct. That's correct.
So it's a politically charged market. Years ago, they said.
I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
Okay.
So years ago, the legislature, the federal government said there will be no pay to play. So you couldn't make contributions and participate in awarding contracts, underwriting contracts, bond counsel contracts, underwriting counsel contracts. But it still happened.
Right.
There's still a way around that. So you have to have that capital, that political capital and real capital to participate in that market. That's just the reality. And then there's, especially to be bond counsel, you have to be with an institution that can afford to cover millions, because you may issue a series of bonds for $500 million. And if something goes wrong as bond counsel and those bonds become taxable when they're supposed to be tax exempt, you're going to be sued.
Wow.
And so you have to have the professional liability insurance to cover that. And everybody
Just don't have it.
Just can't carry that kind of insurance.
So the bigger firms and those places are the ones who usually do it.
Yeah, they are all big firms that do that. And then they carve out a piece, a smaller piece, 10%, 20%, to have co-underwriters counsel or co-bond counsel that they award to a smaller firm that has the expertise, like Daryl Fields, who has the expertise, but their firm may not have been large enough to carry the insurance for a big bond deal.
For a big bond. And what's crazy about that is, to us, we always figured Forrest Fields and Associates was a big firm.
And in our community, they absolutely are, and they are large enough to, and they did grow over the time period to be large enough to be bond counsel and underwriters counsel and on their own and carry enough insurance. They grew to that.
But that's where the politics came in, because then it has to be, are you going to give us the opportunity to do it? Interesting. Absolutely. So I see you got a master's degree. What'd you get your master's in?
So I got a master's in business administration with a concentration in management.
Okay.
And I thought that would be a good partnership with the accounting. Again, I was always trying to do something broader. And I thought it would help me understand business better. So one of the things that Tom Watson, who was the principal for Watson Rice, the accounting firm, when we would work on consulting projects, he would always say, you have to understand the business. You can't consult if you don't understand the business. And that made perfect sense to me. So we didn't just do a job. We would go in and we would try to understand the industry, understand the business that they were conducting. And if you could understand management principles and what the owners were trying to accomplish, you could be a better consultant. So that was a good companion for me. And
so how long you worked there?
my master's degree?
No,
Or
with
Watson
Watson.
Rice for 11 years.
For 11 years. Was that your transition to Tri-C, or you went somewhere
So
else?
no, I started there. I started with Watson Rice as an accountant, and we were doing consulting. We did
Okay.
accounting and we did consulting. I did that for about 11 years, and then I transferred when I finished law school.
All right,
I
correct.
graduated from
So
law
now
school,
I'm
then
back
I
with you.
went to
Okay.
the corporate, and I went to finish into corporate law firm.
Okay.
So I went to Benish. I left Benish. I went to Calfee. I left Calfee. I went to Squire.
Wow.
I left Squire, and I became a partner at Retzel and Andrews, and that was my last stop at the corporate law.
Really?
So I was a partner with Retzel and Andrews for 5 years in their public finance department.
Really?
And then at that point, I felt, okay, I did it. I'm a partner. That's always the carrot when you're in these big
Right.
law firms.
That's a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Right. You're the first person I ever heard sit in front of me who said they did that. That's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal, and it was a great accomplishment for me. It was what I was chasing the whole time.
Okay.
While I got married and while I had my children, and
How many kids you got?
I have 2 children, and I have a stepdaughter who's my daughter.
Boys, girls?
I have a boy and a girl, and my stepdaughter.
Excellent. Excellent.
And yeah, so I took what we call the mommy track.
Okay.
Because track to partnership is usually about 8 years. And I was determined to be very present in my children's lives.
Okay.
I did not want to sacrifice being their present mother for my career.
So I want to go back because you said something. You said the mommy track, and you said the track is usually 8 years. So in theory, I guess, attorney, when they come to a firm like that, figure, I got 8 years to make partner.
Yeah, and it's usually up or out.
Really?
Yeah. You do 8 years, you get there, you establish a book of business, and you become, the partners vote you in,
Okay.
or you're out,
Well, you out.
or you're out.
Wow.
Yeah, as I got to a point where I could be senior attorney or senior associate, but I didn't have enough of a book of business to become partner at the firms that I had been at.
For my clients, because most of my people, we get our information off of Law and Order, Suits, and that kind of stuff where we understand what you guys are doing over there. When you say a book of business, that means you got to get your own clients.
You got to get your own clients, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have huge numbers.
And, right, and I'm saying it's not like going to get Ken Dow because I slipped down the stairs. You gotta go get.
You got to go get $800,000 every year.
Every year.
Every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a big nut to crack.
Oh yeah. So what's the mommy track then? You said I took the mommy track.
So I didn't do 8 years. They were like, we like you, we like the work you're doing, but you don't have enough business. So we're gonna have you be a senior associate, and then if you start to get enough business, then we'll consider you for election to the partnership. And so that was like everywhere I went. So I was at Calfee for about 7 years. And their
You was just
getting there, but their business was declining overall in my department. I'm like, this isn't going to work. So I talked to a colleague that had gone over to Squire. They said, okay, we'll bring you over, but we're going to put you in the middle of the track, which was fine.
Okay.
You know, I then had 1 child. And, like, that's fine because, I'm going to do my thing. And then I got, over there, and it was, you're still going to be senior associate. By the time I got to 8 years with them, you're still going to be senior associate because you still don't have enough business. And it was very difficult in Ohio for a black woman to go out and break into, why would I give you the business when Tom is my buddy and I go golfing
with Tom
and we're in the same country club and he'll drink with me all night and I'm not doing any of those things. I was okay with the senior associate. And
so how you break through that then? Let's talk. Like I say, certain things I just find interesting. I know you came to talk about some other, but how do you break through stuff like that?
The way that I did it, so I did get an invitation. Let me just say that then I got recruited to join Retzel as a partner. But my last few years at Squire, I was working in Cleveland and I was working in Washington, D.C. We had an office in D.C. That was the best thing for me when I started working in D.C. because in D.C., people that are making decisions are people that look like me.
Okay.
There was an African American brother who was the chief financial officer and treasurer for the District of Columbia, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to help you."
So I caught on what you're saying. You had to get out of Ohio.
Yeah, I had to go where they make decisions.
You had to get out of Ohio.
The treasurer of Ohio was not going to look at me.
That's correct. I understand.
I can relate.
We got that. we got it.
But I will say that once that I went over to Retso, and I had been with Squire and I had done a lot of work with Squire as bond counsel. When I went over to Retso and I began to pitch for myself in Ohio, I was able to go to those same clients and say, look, I don't want to compete with Squire, but there's another seat as underwriter counsel, and you know my work, and would you consider me for that role? And a lot of places in Ohio and in Cleveland did. And that was how I built my business. And that was how I got introduced to higher education also.
When you say that now, how you get, and when you say introduced to higher education, what does that mean? Because I was trying to figure out that transition in my mind while you were talking. I said, somehow or another, she got into education. How did that happen?
Yes, we issue a lot of bonds. A lot of bonds are still issued to build facilities at institutions of higher education. So at Cleveland State, they built that beautiful campus center. At Tri-C, we issued a $225 million bond issue after I was over at Tri-C. We built the campus center. We built additions onto our eastern campus. We did some additions on our western campus. So you use bonds to build facilities, to buy equipment. And so I had a number of clients, and Tri-C became one of my clients when I was at Retso. I had done work at Kent State, I had done work at Cleveland State, I had done work at Toledo, Bowling Green. So that's how I got introduced to higher education. And like I said, Tri-C was one of my clients. And they were having a change in their general counsel, and their CFO reached out to me and said, we're going to have an opening, would you apply? And so that was how I wound up.
So they became a client, though, right?
They became one of my bond counsel clients. I was their bond counsel.
Okay, and so now they're a client, and you serving them and doing the stuff that they need. And you did that. I saw that in your bio that you did do some time with that. Then how you start transitioning, because that's bond counseling. Now you running the show. That's a little different because now you got to deal with professors, educators. So that's a little different.
So when the folks at Tri-C asked me if I would apply, the first time they asked me, I said no. It's like I just got to be
So they asked you to apply for this?
They asked me to apply, And when they first asked me, I said no. And I was like, I just got to be partner. I have been working all my career to be partner, and I've only been here like a year and a half. No, so I'm not going to do it. But then they had another change 3 years later. And they came back and asked me again, and I said, okay, now I am ready for an off-ramp, because bond counsel is a very unique and specialized, it's a boutique business, if you will. And so the off-ramp is not that easy. You have to really make a transition. And so I made a determination that I would take a pay cut in a transition. But I'd start over, and I'd have more balance. My children were getting older. I'd have more balance and work-life balance. Wouldn't have that hustle of finding that every deal ends, you got to have another one already in a different stage of moving to keep the revenue up. And so I used that. So it was, and I had become familiar with Tri-C. I did only know them from the finance angle, though you're right.
Yeah, but because they do that much bond counseling work?
Nope. Maybe done 2 bond issues since I've been there for 12 years. I've done 2 bond issues. So it was a real pivot, and I had to learn a lot about labor and employment. That's a lot of it. But they also do a lot with contracts. So I already had a kind of understanding of what we would do with contracts. We do a lot with real estate. I had some familiarity with real estate from the housing deals that I had done. There's a lot of student issues, of course. There are a lot of faculty issues, and you just have to learn. So
because I remember I brought you on, we were saying you were CEO and president of Corporate College. So when you came on as bond counsel, you were over all Tri-C, right? Am I saying Metro Campus, Western Campus, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
Okay, so I left, when I left the bond counsel business and I joined Tri-C, I became what's known as general counsel. So I became vice president and general counsel of the entire Cuyahoga Community College.
All right, so now it makes more, because I'm sitting there, hell, Corporate College, how many bond issues they doing over there? But now I got it. You doing the whole kid and caboodle.
So I did that for 11 years.
Wow, okay.
And then over this last year, when our new president, Dr. Michael Baston, joined us, he and I had a conversation about what I wanted to do personally. What were my personal goals? And my personal goals at the time, and still are, were to join a corporate board. I've been on lots of government boards. I've been on lots of nonprofit boards. I've been on lots of quasi-governmental boards and advisory councils over my 30-year career. But I have never been on a corporate board. And so I wanted to try that. And he goes, I got a couple of positions that I think might help you reach that goal. And one of them was the presidency at Corporate College. He says, that sounds like that's something that could help you. It has corporate in the name.
Right.
But he also had looked at my background and he said, you have a CPA, you have an MBA, you have the JD, you have all these skills that we need in the position for a president of corporate college. He said, so why don't you try it as an interim? And if you don't like it, just go back to being vice president or general counsel. If you like it, we'll figure out how to make it work.
I'm going to ask one of my Glenville questions because that's what I call them. It seemed like to me that you had all of that before you became that. It seemed like you could have sat on a corporate board. And I don't know. That's why I call it Glenville question, because I would say that and don't have no background on none of that. It just seemed to me with all of that stuff you had, is it that difficult to get on a corporate board?
Let me tell you, it is, in recent times, been one of the most difficult things I have
Really?
encountered. However, Dr. Baston was right. Being president of corporate college could help me. And it did.
Wow.
It added one more dimension because a lot of corporate boards want a CEO or someone with CEO experience. And so I had reached out to Wes Gillespie at Erie Bank, and at the time he was Erie Bank Cleveland president. And I asked him about sitting on their board. And he says, we have an advisory board. I would love to have you on my advisory board. And then when he presented me to their parent company that has actually a bank board, their president thought that I would be a good match for them. And he came out to meet me, and Michael Paducci is the president of CNB Bank and the parent of Erie Bank. And through that connection, he actually said to me the same thing you just said. He just said, if someone would just look at your resume, of course they would want you to be on this board. And he goes, I don't understand why you're not on anyone's board. I want you to be on our board. And so now I am on
there it is.
CNB Bank's board.
Okay.
And, they're located in Clearfield, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I had to go to little Clearfield, Pennsylvania to achieve this dream. But I'm very grateful to Wes Erie Bank and the CNB Bank family for helping me achieve that goal.
See, that one wasn't on your paper. See, we found out something new
They
there.
gave you an old paper. I was listening to you. Okay.
Oh, I pulled that off myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's a little outdated, but
Yeah.
you got most of it.
I got most of it. That's good. That is good. I'm glad to hear that. So you done made that. You can check that box now,
I
too.
can check that box.
Okay.
I'm serving now as the permanent president of corporate college, and I am serving as senior advisor and counsel to President Baston and the board of trustees at
So
Tri-State.
you wearing a lot of hats, lady.
Yeah, this is on me because I've been a lawyer for so long, and I absolutely love being a lawyer, and I absolutely love being general counsel. It's a great gig. I didn't want to give it all up.
I see.
But I knew they needed a general counsel because
Right.
being general counsel, for a while I was interim president of corporate college, and I was still general counsel. That was way too much work.
Wow.
Way too much work. So we have now hired a general counsel, and man, Jason Carter's doing a fabulous job.
Okay.
And I just kept that sliver of legal that reports and counsels the president and the board of trustees, and our general counsel does everything else.
So is it what's the word I'm looking for? The transition of, that was the legal counsel lady, and now she's our CEO and running stuff. How is that with the educators and stuff? Was it, and you ain't, we ain't got to call nobody out, but did you find that, or are you thinking that level of education, people, it is no big deal, this is business, we taking care of what we need to do? Or do they feel, she's not an educator, why would she get that position?
I will say, I believe, and this is from my mother's teachings, I believe that education is the key to open many doors. And when you have a level of education, there is a presumption that you know
That's a good point.
a minimum level of, and so that helped for certain. Having a CPA, having my MBA.
Yeah.
And having really a great relationship with my colleagues at the college. So having been there for 11 years, I've touched a lot of people. I've touched a lot of departments.
They knew you.
And I always try to treat everybody that I'm working with as a colleague. And that was the culture for my department, is that we have 3,000 employees. So we have 3,000 clients. And we will treat all of our clients with respect and with dignity. And when I still tell this to folks that are in the legal department that I have an opportunity, and I do have an opportunity to speak with them often. When we call somebody, it comes up on their phone, Office of General Counsel. They're already worried.
Right.
There's no reason for us to behave in a manner to make them more worried or more nervous.
Interesting. That's good.
Because we are very seldom calling you just to say hello.
Excellent. Excellent.
And so that, I think, that culture that we've developed, and with our president and our president's cabinet, it is generally the culture across the college. Very collegiate at Tri-C, very collegiate, very respectful. And it is easy to work in that environment and to look out for each other. And faculty have their own views of who's most important in the college, and everybody is important, and everybody plays an important role. And we could not be the people's college the way we are without everybody working to make it the best possible outcome for whatever area we're working in.
All right, so we're going to pay a little bills on this then. Let's get down to corporate college, because again, everybody who watched this, and we have a worldwide audience. I got people all over the world. Believe it or not, you want to know one of the biggest places that watch most of my shows
Worldwide.
is African American men in California.
Wow.
For the fellas out in Cali who don't know what corporate college is, don't know what Tri-C is, why don't you tell us again what corporate college is and what you guys specialize down there at that school and that kind of thing for everyone.
Sure. Let me start with, we are Cuyahoga Community College, and we are currently at an enrollment of 40,000 students, both online and on ground, and that makes us one of the largest community colleges in the nation.
Really?
We have 4 campuses, we have 11 different sites, we have a very broad footprint, and we are set up more like a university than we are a typical community college. So we are a very large, very sophisticated, very complex community college. We like to say we have the advanced technology, we have facilities that I would match against any other community college and many universities. We are larger than most universities. So let's start with that, and then under our Dr. Jerry Sue Thornton, who was our longtime president, she created corporate college. And the idea was that we would provide training to corporate citizens. So I like to refer to it as post-employment training.
Okay.
So the training that we provide are for folks that are already in the workforce, that are working with established companies or corporations. And now under my tenure, we have added a Center for Entrepreneurs. So you may not be in the workforce yet. You may want to get in the workforce as a sole proprietor or an entrepreneur of some sort. So we concentrate on soft skills, on organizational development skills, on leadership development, quality improvement, and find business solutions for entities that are looking to do more, do better, upscale, upskill. That's what we do at corporate college.
Now, in corporate college, just like most community colleges, a college that people low income and people of that nature can be able to go to, or is it just that it's not as expensive as a regular college? How would you phrase that?
Corporate college.
No, just Tri-C.
Tri-C. Okay,
Yeah.
Sure. Tri-C. We talk about Tri-C in terms of Tri-C being the people's college. So we think of ourselves and we conduct ourselves as the people's college for Cuyahoga County. We are the lowest tuition for community colleges in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
You can attend classes at Tri-C for 1/3 of the cost to go to a university. And we encourage every student in the state of Ohio, or my brothers out in California, take classes online at Tri-C, check your first and second year classes at Tri-C, get that associate's degree, and then transfer to that 4-year institution, and you will save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars.
And I guess one of the other things with Tri-C that I like about it that you can say, if you're not a student that wants that big classroom, like you're saying, getting in that first 2 years of getting together, if you're a student that needs more hands-on, Tri-C is the place for you to go.
Absolutely. We have smaller class sizes. We have resources, whether they're career resources or tutoring resources, writing lab resources, technology labs, just all kinds of hands-on experiences for students to engage in to help you be successful?
I can tell you my experience of corporate college. I have a daughter that graduated high school, and she was definitely, I need to get you into Tri-C because she has IEP, some other things she needed some help with. So I said, let's get you in there. She registered her classes, but all her classes came up at corporate college. Now, it wasn't a bad thing for us because corporate college is right around the corner, go to corporate college. But she was having some difficulties. And so I finally stepped in and said, let me go on up here and see what's going on with it and everything. And so we walked through there. I said, where's your cafeteria at? She showed me this is the cafeteria, but it's only open during this time and this time. Where is this study place at? Where is everybody? So to me, I ended up telling her, I think the experience she needed was more a metro campus experience because she needed around people. She needed to have the energy, the clubs, the things that she can do. Corporate college, and you should tell me if I'm wrong. That's why you're here. Corporate college came around to be exactly what it sounds like. It was corporate college. And you go there, people go there, they're taking care of their business. So you might be, like you're saying, getting off work. You want to go to your class. You're not hanging around. You're doing what you need to do. And people, it's a corporate experience. So you want to break down the difference to you in those atmospheres for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Corporate college is a training and conference center.
Okay.
It is a division
Okay.
of Cuyahoga Community College. We have 4 campuses that are set up like every campus all over everywhere else. We have a student center. We have cafeterias.
Correct.
We have libraries. Those are all on our campuses.
Correct.
Our corporate college is designed like a business conference center. We have a super conference room
Right.
where we have large events for 300 people. We have labs, we have seminar rooms, workshop, breakout rooms. So we don't have a cafeteria.
Right.
We don't have a library.
Right.
We are for post-employment
That's correct.
training.
That's correct.
We offer a few things that are just community oriented, real estate classes or cooking classes. We have a chef's table where you can come in and you can do team building and you can make pasta and pizza and cookies. You can screen movies as part of your training. That's what corporate college is. It is not your traditional college campus.
Right.
Now you fast forward to this year, and we're very excited about this. We have established the Center for Entrepreneurs.
Ah.
And we did a soft launch at Futureland in conjunction with the city of Cleveland and Jumpstart. We participated in that where we did a soft launch of our entrepreneurship class. That's where Latif mentions his son. I had met his son at a career day. I invited him to come to Futureland, and then he enrolled in our first entrepreneurship cohort.
So what is that?
So we have a cohort. We had our first class. We have 4 tracks in our entrepreneurship program: a discovery track, a foundation track, expansion, and acceleration. Really? And the very first track is finding your passion in business. So if you have an individual who's in grandma's basement or in dad's garage and they're learning beats or they're learning how to podcast from home or they bought some product and the garage is full of product but they just fell into this business, but they never really thought about how do I really form this business correctly? How do I get the foundational? How do I get an employee ID number? How do I open a business bank account? How do I set up a board? All of those things. How do I do payroll? Should I be getting a W-2? Should I be getting a 1099? So we have developed our first track, our discovery track. It is 4 weeks, 2 classes a week, 5:30 to 9:30. 5:30 to 9:30. It is commitment. We made sure to make that 100% scholarship, so that paying the $840 that it would cost to take this course would not be a barrier. And we launched our first course November 7th with 21 students, and on December 7th we graduated 21 students from that program.
Excellent.
So we are really excited about it. The students were really excited about it. They were fully participating. We just had their celebration, which is where I met Latif Sr. On January 11th, we just had that. So we are equally excited that we have built and established a podcast center at Corporate College.
Okay.
And we're going
So what that's going to do?
Yep, we're going to be doing a soft launch for the next month, and we hope that February 26th will be our public launch. But we'll finalize that shortly.
So what you gonna do with the podcast studio?
So with the podcast studio, we're going to do three things. We have a podcast curriculum where we're going to teach people the pre-production and post-production phases of podcast.
Oh.
That class, ladies and gentlemen, starts tonight.
Oh.
Run on out to corporate college, get registered, and get in that class tonight.
Wow.
We're starting that with the pre-production phase this evening. And so those students will have some coursework in the classroom. They will go over to the podcast studio and try out what they're learning.
That's sweet.
That's one way we're going to use it. We have a number of clients that come to us at corporate college for facilitation and training, District RTA, Cleveland Clinic, Nestle's, all of those clients. We hope that they will decide at some point, you know what, we have a CEO in from Australia. We would like for them to come in and do a podcast and broadcast it out.
That's correct.
And so that's another resource and another tool to offer to that traditional market that we have.
Excellent.
We hope that some of them will just locally decide that we want to build content to put on our social media platforms. So come in and record several podcasts, and we'll help you edit and slice them and give them to you so you can place them on your social media.
That's really sweet.
And so that's how we plan to use the podcast studio.
And that's at corporate college.
And that's at corporate college.
Only at corporate college.
Only at corporate college, right? Right. So we have two sets out there that we can change up a little bit to give different looks so everybody's
That's
podcast
sweet.
doesn't look exactly.
Exactly. That's what we were just talking about. So that's good. But
Very varied. And so we're really excited about that. And
everybody's trying to do that. And like I said, I get so many people. So now I'll be able to tell them, hey, you could go down to corporate college and learn how to do this yourself.
Exactly. Learn how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to learn and you just want to do it, we will work with you to do the run of show, to help you organize your content, to make sure that you will be
That's
interested.
huge. Like you said, that's huge. That's the podcast, man. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah, I would love to help y'all market that. Anything I can do to help you market that, I would
Just
definitely
tell
do.
everybody we have courses and we will have rental for the podcast studio.
So let's talk about, and I will say this though, and corporate college, like we say, is the Metro campus. When I took her to Metro campus, we walked out there. I took her in that middle court where all the buildings were. She looked, yes,
I'm home.
this is campus.
We have something for
Yeah.
everyone.
So by the time we walked in all those buildings, I was tired and everything. But she saw the computer labs. She talked to people there. She was able to go. She said, yeah, this is where I could see me sitting in that chair over there having lunch, doing
And
stuff.
let me
So it's a
say,
different
in our
synergy.
traditional college setting, on
Yeah.
the campus settings and enrollment there, most of our students receive some sort of scholarship.
Okay.
And it might be because you're a veteran. It might be because you're a first generation student. It could be because of financial need. But there are lots of scholarships available. Some, if you want to be a nurse, there are scholarships that people have given us money to fund just for nurses. So there's lots of resources to help bring that cost down. And I believe that students only pay 15 or 16% of the tuition themselves by
Wow.
the time they get whatever financial aid they're eligible for.
So let's get into some of the stuff that now you're president over there. You in there. You told about 2 programs that are good programs. Give me some more. Anything else that you're looking forward to knocking off as president? I'm really looking forward to getting this going.
So I have one other big initiative that I'm starting now. We would like to establish an innovation and collaboration lab at corporate college. And that will be, the collaboration part of the lab will enhance services that we currently offer. So I was saying we offer to all of these existing corporations in town. We offer facilitation and training services. It might be in DE&I, it might be in Lean Six Sigma, it could be in just organizational development, any number of client business solutions. And what we find ourselves doing in a lot of those meetings, we break up into smaller groups. We put flip charts all around the room. We put sticky notes, and they're talking about it. This new collaboration lab will be in pods. And we'll be in small groups, but we won't have sticky notes and we won't have white flip charts around the room. We'll have monitors and laptops, and we'll feed, as a group, you and I are talking, and we're feeding our notes into this.
Real time.
And people at the next table are doing the same. And on the wall here is a server and a monitor, and everybody's being fed into that.
Wow.
So that your solution is being designed as you're collaborating. And if you leave with that written report, as opposed to having to go back and take all those sticky notes on whiteboards and come out with it. So that's on the table. And then the other part of that is we want to put our twist on it to have just an ideation and innovation center within the center, so that folks can just come brainstorm, have a section where they're brainstorming, where they're creating ideas, where they're thinking about new twist on an old idea. How do we take AI and
That's what I was going to ask you. Is all of this AI?
yeah, how do we take AI and use it to enhance the business that we're working on? And just give yourself a chance to get away from the office, get away from everything else, and just sit in small groups with maybe you want laptops right there, maybe you want monitors, maybe you just want to be able to sit in a soft seating and have conversations. So that's on the table. We hope by this time next year that we are under development with that. So we're working hard to make that happen.
So what do you really would like to achieve before you leave there?
I would like to achieve the things that we talked about. I would like to see the Center for Entrepreneurs fully running. And we are trying, one of the things that we are really trying to do with our entrepreneurs is not to just give them a class and say, okay, see you later, it was fun. No, we want to give you a class, help you take that next step, do the work, get in the field, get out of mom's basement, and get into a spot to do whatever it is you're trying to do. Have you been cooking for 5 or 10 people? Let's teach you how to cook for 50 so you can have a real catering business. Come and use one of our commercial kitchens. And let's teach you how to scale up grandma's recipe.
So I'm going to stay on that point. Because you mentioned it earlier and I skipped. Y'all have commercial kitchens.
Yes. We have
Now, just at corporate?
We have 2 at corporate college, but across the Tri-C footprint. This is the beautiful thing about being a division of Tri-C. We have access to our 11 sites,
That's
to our
correct.
4 campuses and our 11 sites. And some of our sites have recording equipment. Some of our sites have studios, recording studios, film studios, music studios. We have, I think, 5 commercial kitchens across our footprint. And so we are working with the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Cleveland to create this pipeline where we're using our entrepreneurship in residence program that has been generously funded by Huntington Bank to move those students into the 4-track entrepreneurship curriculum that I told you about, and then to move them into workshops so that they do something else to help them get to that next step of their business, and then to move them into our Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And for that, you have to have $75,000 in annual revenue and at least 2 employees or 2 contractors.
Now that's my thing, but we're gonna keep going because now you're saying Goldman Sachs. Now, what is that?
It is a small business program that's been funded by Goldman Sachs. They're an investment firm, but they have a foundation arm. And 10 years ago, they selected 19 sites across the country to run a program to enhance and grow small businesses.
Okay.
And Cuyahoga Community College was selected as one of those sites.
Wow.
And they are now housed at Corporate College. So they have moved back. They started at Corporate College, moved away, and now they are back at Corporate College. And so we are working, they have now 917 people, are alumni of that program that have gone through that program.
Wow.
And so now we are doing extra outreach to say, okay, you 917 companies, what are you doing now? What do you wish we had taught you that we missed so that we can include it in our new entrepreneurship program?
Okay.
What would you have liked for us to do next for you so that we could do that for our entrepreneurs that are coming through now? But what can we do for you now? What education do you need now? What experiences do you need now? What can we do to help you go to whatever your next step is? So that's what we're doing now, and then we're going to develop that. If I can have a fully functional Center for Entrepreneurs,
that would be sweet.
if I can have a fully functional innovation and collaboration lab, and we have a Corporate College West that's not nearly as functional or as popular as our Corporate College East is. And so that's my third piece. So if I can get that up.
So you got both college campuses?
Yes, I have Corporate College East and Corporate College West.
Oh, okay.
So that's my vision, to do those things, and I will feel like I have achieved everything I need to achieve.
How long is it going to take you to get it done? You're on an 8-year track?
No. I'm on a 3-year track. I'm driving everybody crazy.
You driving everybody. You going worse than that.
I'm driving everybody.
You getting this done. You ain't messing around.
That's right. And so Ronna McNair is our executive director. And you may know Ronna, her husband has a business, and he's a great supporter.
Darren McNair. Okay,
in
Darren.
3D Plastics.
Yeah.
And Ronna's our executive director. She's working really hard. She's doing a fabulous job. And so I'm looking for someone like that to run our innovation and collaboration lab. So we're working on that piece. And I am actually interviewing now for someone to come in to be our director of sales of both Corporate College East and West.
Wow.
And we're going to do it 3 years.
Okay, I'll tell you, President came over there and he did some recruiting, and he's doing
Yes.
something. He even snatched India Lee, right?
Dr. Baston is amazing.
Yeah.
Dr. Baston is his second year as our college president. And people see him, people in corporations see him coming now. I think they start to run because they're worried he's going to take their people.
He's going to take his people. I mean, I'd say I'm running around taking everybody.
India Lee has joined
Yes.
us as our EVP of strategy. Shauna Marr came over
Yeah,
from Cleveland
yeah,
Partnership.
yeah.
And she's our EVP of Workforce Development. Eric Gordon came over, and he is our Senior Vice President for our students.
Yeah.
And he's doing some amazing work with our athletics and our students, and just some wonderful additions to the Tri-C family. And
I want the big man on my show. I put out some stuff to him, and I want to make sure and I was working. We were in communication. Then I just got tied up with some other stuff, so he was responsive, and I'll just get back on it. And if I have to, I'll reach out to you.
absolutely.
Let's get down to my final questions, because I want to thank you for coming on our program. You did an excellent job. You gave me a lot of information, and you educated us. We're gonna get down to my questions for you.
Oh, we still have questions. I thought we did this.
Oh no, no, you thought those were out. Here's
We were wrapping up.
oh, here's the rapping questions for you right here. Okay, if you could trade places with anybody for one day to do whatever you wanted to do as that person, who and what would it be?
This is a big world. So I'm toying between Michelle Obama and Barack Obama.
Either.
One of the Obamas.
One of the Obamas.
I think if I could trade places with one person, it would be one of the Obamas, because they have such far reach and such great influence, and they've been such great examples of how to live your life, of how to be a parent, of how to be a good citizen, of how to be great leaders, of how to be charitable and philanthropic. So I would be one of the Obamas, and I would try to use the same influence that they have provided for us.
Excellent. All right, what is one of your guilty pleasures? You gotta have one. All this stuff you do,
I
you
have a
probably
few.
go
It's just, what
home.
can I tell you?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. When you want to sit out here on camera and admit to us, I'm saying all that stuff you do, and I know you guys. So.
I'm not guilty about it, but if I could watch Hallmark all day.
Ew, straight up. Oh.
I know. If I could watch Hallmark when I want to
Oh.
totally de-stress,
Hallmark.
Hallmark and a glass of wine.
You know, my wife, she keeps it on that channel, man. I can't stand it.
There's no screaming.
The
there's no
movies are all the
fussing.
same, though, aren't they? They're the same movie.
It's all going to end well.
It's gonna, right.
Everybody's going to be happy at the end. Nobody's going to get cursed out. Nobody's going to fight. Nobody's really going to raise their voice.
She's hooked on them in Christmas movies. They come on, and it's the same thing. You bring the boyfriend home, acting like he's your boyfriend when you know he's not. The parents gonna find out. It's all the same thing over and over. And on Hallmark, it's the crazy movies on Hallmark. It's the woman who want to beat up the husband or to kill the guy or did something
No,
crazy.
that's Hallmark mystery. No, you got to go straight Hallmark.
You going straight hard with
Hallmark.
nothing but what they say, sugar pops and candy canes.
That's right. If I want my husband to watch with me, my husband of 33
Yes.
years, if I can say that. Too. If I want my husband to watch with me, I have to watch Hallmark Murders and
Mystery. That's me. That was I would watch that. The other one, nah, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Hallmark is like one long Christmas movie.
But they're not all Christmas movies. They're seasonal.
Seasonal, but
They're seasonal. They just now started.
It's the seasonal
can't wait
Christmas.
to get to
It's the
Christmas,
seasonal.
though.
It's the same girl who was in the Christmas movie with the problem. Now she's doing a Thanksgiving problem with the same problem, and they use the same actors.
You can get your favorite actors. I got mine. I don't
You
know
got
their
yours.
I don't know their names.
Y'all dedicated to that, and that's her thing too. What's the best compliment you ever got?
I was thinking about this just yesterday. I was at a nail salon, and a lady was talking with me about about some issues she was having in education and what she wanted to do next. And I was telling her about Tri-C and some of the things she could do at Tri-C. And she said to me, when I talk to you, I feel rescued. I feel helped, and I feel like you're going to help me through whatever it is I'm going through. And I took that.
Touched
That touched me. And so I I thought about it yesterday when I was helping someone who's just passed,
Mm-hmm.
and I was helping them with their situation. And as she was leaving and going to her car, all I was thinking was, boy, I hope she feels rescued.
Excellent. Excellent. Something you wish you were better at.
I wish I could sing. I tell my family all the time, I'd be dangerous if I could sing.
Do you sing all the
I
time?
sing when nobody can hear me. I sing in church because they forgive you in church for what you sound like.
Okay.
But I was singing the choir.
Oh, so you don't walk around the house singing? They be like, there she go again.
Sometimes I sing on Sunday morning. I got a gospel hymn going on Sunday morning.
But you really wish you could sing.
Oh, if I could sing, I would love it. It seems like such a fun thing to do. I'd be dangerous. If I could sing and have all of the other talents God has blessed me with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll be dangerous.
I'd be dangerous.
You'll definitely be dangerous. Especially if you can sing and be your own agent, right? You'll be
I need
dangerous.
to butt in the question with that. Since you wanted to sing, or you wish you could sing, has anybody ever said you look like Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles?
That's funny. No, people have told me different people that they thought I looked like.
I can see where you're going with that, Latif, but I don't think so. I favor maybe sister, cousin down the road, not mom.
Shantae Moore, when I was younger.
That's who you
used to-
yes,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt
I
on
see
that.
that.
Because when I'm looking at you, I keep thinking like myself, she looked like somebody, and that's exactly who it is, Shantae Moore. Excellent. What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Easy one for me. When I was in college, I was an accountant. And I was a good student generally, but I struggled mightily in accounting. And it is a testament to your foundational courses mean everything. If you don't get the foundation, you can't build on it. And so I had my first instructor at Kent State. He was just terrible. He was come in, he talked about General Motors stock, and he would say, okay, here's the answers to the problems that you were supposed to do for homework, and then we go home. And we weren't really learning anything, so I wasn't learning anything, and I didn't do well on my exams. I got my first D ever in those courses, so I had to come home in the summer and go to Cleveland State and retake those courses. And at that time, they averaged your grade with so I got a B average with a D. So I'm starting out at a C. And you have to, when you graduate from Kent, you have to have a certain certain GPA in your major, in addition to a certain GPA overall. And so I went to see the advisor, and he told me, I don't really think you're cut out to be an accountant. I think you should switch to education. Worst advice ever.
He wanted you to be a teacher.
Wanted me to be a teacher. Not that there's anything wrong with being
No,
a teacher.
I got you.
But I wanted to be an accountant, and I knew I could be an accountant, and I knew I could be a good accountant. And then when I passed my CPA exam, I wanted to go back and just lay it on his desk, but I didn't.
Now you need to go back and tell him, now I'm in charge of all the teachers. Really, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you could tell him that, because that would be fulfilling, at least for me. I'd just like to see his face.
Yeah, but that would have taken some effort, and he wasn't really worth it. So.
Oh, I understand. All right, this is my last one for you. What never fails to make you smile, what makes you laugh, whatever you sit back and you're having one of those days, but if this came across your mind, you'd be like, man, that's some silly. I remember that, or something that would just always make you laugh.
I thought so generally I could say my children, but some of that just always makes me laugh. Probably something my daughter has shown me from TikTok, because they have the craziest things.
No, they
on
do have some
TikTok.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, but just my children are hilarious, and they can come up with some stories, especially my youngest, that just can really make me laugh. My family can generally make me smile. My husband and my children, they can generally just make me smile.
What'd your husband do?
My husband was an IT consultant. He's retired now, but he was an IT consultant. For a while, he worked as an internal auditor with Dominion,
Okay.
East Ohio, and then he joined a small consulting firm, Western Reserve Systems, and he did that until he retired.
Excellent. Excellent. You say y'all been married 33 years.
33 years, yeah.
Wow.
34 years.
34 years.
34 years, yeah.
Excellent. I appreciate you coming on our program. It was delightful. I was worried about it because I was like, oh, it's corporate college. What are we going to talk about and get into it? I really was. Latif would tell you. I was like, oh, I got to really, and I read up on you, got some stuff. And
I assured him that you was going to be interesting. I was really confident.
Thank you, Latif.
you know what I'm learning is in this is that sometimes not being structured and just have conversations make it easier, and that's basically how I've been doing my podcast is I used to study for people and be, all right, let me study and get it in. But I need to just know a little bit and just have conversation, because you're going to talk. And then you're going to say something I find interesting. Wait, let's talk about that.
Right.
And it seemed to make good podcasts. And you did very well. And I am very happy that you came in. And thank you again for being on our show. And so like we do with every show, we close by letting you have this camera. I want you to take your mic and just slide it like this. Yeah, just like that a little bit, because I want to get a good shot of you right there. And then you get to say whatever. And like I said, it's a closing. You can say whatever's on your heart. You can say a plug for Tri-C or whatever, and we're going to use that.
Okay. I would be remiss if I don't invite you all to go to Tri-C's website, tri-c.edu/entrepreneurship, and check out all the offerings that we have for the Center for Entrepreneurs. We have course curriculum, we have workshops, and we have our podcast studio. So please check us out. Please come out to visit with us at 4400 Richmond Road. We'd be more than happy to welcome you there for a tour or just to have a conversation, or otherwise just visit Tri-C, period.
And that's
Cuyahoga Community College.
Yes, and all the links to how you can reach her and how you can reach out to Cuyahoga Community College and all of that will be in the description under her video in the description box. So you'll be able to click on all of that and get as much information as you can. Again, Miss Renee Richard, thank you again for coming on my program. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a ball.
And we'll see y'all next week. Peace. Excellent work. You did a great job.
Thank you. That was fun. It was fun having a conversation. That is easiest for me to have a conversation.
It's easy to have a conversation. When I was trying to, when we're talking about corporate college, but it just, you know what, in my experience of doing that and talking with you and all of that makes it easier. And I really thank you for doing that. And hopefully, if there's anything we can do to help with that, please let us know. We'd like to do some plugs if there's some other people at the school or another program you think that's interesting. Say, hey, Ken, you should have them on and come talk about this or that. We always go for that stuff.
Absolutely. And if you want to have Dr. Besson would be a wonderful guest. He would be a great guest. Or if you want to have someone come out and talk about the young lady that runs our Goldman Sachs program, she could come talk with you. Or you might want to have her and Rana come and talk about the Center for Entrepreneurs and the Goldman Sachs program. Maybe you might want to have both of them talk together.
I like to do that because our show is about business and entrepreneurship and that, and I think having someone that I found that very interesting, and to be able to get that information out. The new thing that everybody is now saying is, I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm this, I'm that, I'm my own business and that. Some of y'all need to take a class. I'm sorry.
True. And I would say that if Dr. Baston does come to talk to you, he has two initiatives I think that would be great subjects. One is his latest initiative is to talk about Cleveland as the career capital of the state of Ohio.
Okay.
And then the second is we had a report done on the gig economy. He could fill up your time talking about those two initiatives.
If you can help me out with that, I appreciate it. And we'll get him in as soon as possible. We'll run him in, we're going to run him in March. Because we're going to run
I'll show him this, and if he's happy with this.
I told you, me and him been in communications. His office, he was planning to come, and they asked me for some information. I got busy, and I just didn't turn it in, to be honest with you. That's what happened. And so I'll work with you.
And I know Lateef gave them information because we have to get it cleared in order to be able to come here.
Yeah.
So that's why they would be asking for information, because they want to.
I think it's that same guy, so I could pretty much do what I did for you.
And I think that if you show him what you have done, even that's because they got a lot higher level of scrutiny for him than me.
Okay.
Right. So mine is up there, but his is going to be higher. And him being able to see what you have created will help.
And India has been on.
Okay, that
She's
helps
been
too.
on there. And when you talk to India, you see her often? When you talk to her, say, I was on David's podcast.
David, not Ken.
David. She's going to say, Ken Dow.
Okay.
And you go like, yes.
Okay, I'll see her tomorrow.
Was at the Cleveland Foundation.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so when she was at the Cleveland Foundation, she was on this. Okay, good.
I
That would be helpful.
I grew up with her. I knew her since I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so
It's a small world,
her
isn't it?
family and all of that. So we go way, way back. So that's why when you tell her David, she's going to laugh at you.
Oh, okay.
Like, he
Right.
must have, because everybody who called me David knows me.
Knows you from way back.
Yeah, and that's why. And she'd be like, you was on his podcast. She's like, yeah, I was on his podcast. And she goes, oh, that was good. But she was trying to help me get a few people on before she left the foundation and stuff. But yeah,
She's a great resource.
So yeah, we'll do it that way. What I'll do then, we'll put a package together for them. We'll put your show, we'll put India's show,
That'd be great.
and we'll put our regular media pack kit, and we'll give it all to them.
Okay.
And then we'll ask them come on. And because like I said, I got time because I got you guys. I'm gonna do all of you guys for Black History, and I want to bring him in March. We got time.
That sounds great. All right. Well, you guys save the date for. It's a tentative date, but save the date
Can
for.
I get you to do one thing? Because at the end of your last introduction, that battery died.
I sounded like right
No,
at the end.
you want her to do
Yeah.
that closing piece?
Yeah, that closing piece.
Okay.
I'm
Let's
just saying all your Tri-C stuff,
Okay.
like the ending.
Oh, okay. It was on until I heard you say that
Put
the
your
website.
right there. It went out at the very end.
Yeah, it went out at the very end.
She's good now, right?
So
Just hey, thanks for being on our program, and if you want to get more information about Tri, something like that.
it's been.
I still gotta get in it.
Yeah, 'cause you gonna end it.
Oh, you want me?
Yeah, just end it like
Oh, you still want me to end it again?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead. We doing our ending again. Basically, I'm gonna start it over. Right, I'll get you all together. Again, Miss Renee Richard, thank you for coming on our program. You did a wonderful job today. You educated all of us about the wonderful programs that's going on at Tri-C. And we're looking forward to getting more information from some of the other people at Tri-C so that we can keep you guys abreast of what's going on and to educate you on some of the good things they're doing. Some of you guys need some of these programs, especially if you're getting into the entrepreneurship. So the close is on now. I'm going to let you look at this camera. You got this camera here. You can take as long as you want just to say a few words to let people know how they can get in touch with Tri-C, what you got going. And if there's anything on your heart you'd like to leave our people, go right ahead. Camera's yours.
All right. Thank you, Ken, for having me on Strategic Moves, Ken Dow. And I would be remiss if I did not invite you all to go to our website at tri-c.edu/entrepreneurship. And check out the offerings from the Center for Entrepreneurs. We have entrepreneurship classes that are starting again on February 5th. We have podcast class that's starting today and will continue over the next 3 or 4 weeks. We have lots of workshops that we'll be offering. So come out and see our podcast studio. Come out and visit our college. We'll be glad to give you a tour and help you to find your place with us at Corporate College.
Again, that is Renee Richard. She is the president and CEO of Corporate College, Cleveland, Tri-C, Cleveland, Ohio, but it's called Cuyahoga County Community College. Cuyahoga Community College. We call it Tri-C. So if you're looking for any more information, I have all the information on how you can get in touch with those programs at the school. And if you'd like to leave some information in Ms. Richard's office, we'll have all of that information for you. So again, thanks for tuning in to Strategic Moves with Ken Dow. We'll see you next week. Peace. All right. We're good now, right?